In the summer of 1963, I came down with what we called the kissing disease, which was mononucleosis, and it was complicated by hepatitis. And I couldn't get out of bed. My mother was called away to deal with her own mom's passing. So my great aunt Millie, who was then in her 60s, came to look after me. And when I was strong enough, we'd sit just outside in the backyard, and Millie would tell me stories of her youth. And I was riveted. She was married to Lionel Scheuer, who was a traveling salesman in the days when crossing the United States was not quite a wagon train, but it was not what it is today. There were no interstate highways, and the highways across the desert, across the Great Salt Lake, through that desert, were wood, like piers that we would see in the ocean. They were wooden, thick wooden poles with boards on them. And cars, I mean, you can imagine 1918, I think they had a Model T, or maybe it was a DeSoto. Anyway, Millie and I are sitting there, and she's telling me a story about something I never thought I would see in my lifetime. But it was the following. She was ill with her husband in Seattle with the Spanish flu, and as she was recovering, the doctor would come visit her virtually every day. He had a whole bunch of patients, I guess, in central Seattle, or maybe in the hotel. And just as the flu began to die down, he died of influenza. And that struck me. But she said, as she was strong enough to go out, she would see everyone still wearing masks, these white cloth surgical masks. But the men, their masks were stained with a round brown stain on the masks where they'd been smoking their cigars. Now, we don't see the stains anymore, but the masks, yes, and I never thought I'd see them. Now, making this recording has been such fun. Remembering Millie, who was a saint, and that story, it's just wonderful because it springs a lot of other stories suddenly leap up in my mind that I don't have the time to go into now, but I certainly would. So think about joining us in our Your Story is Your Legacy workshop. I can tell you that it's just fun doing it. You don't have to be a writer. In fact, maybe better if you're a writer. We'll talk to you about various kinds of software that you can use that can turn your words into print. Think of the family photographs you might have lying around. And think of as I was fascinated, riveted by my great aunt's stories, think about how your kids or their kids would feel. So come on and join us. $79, only $79, cheap at the price, and there's more. Bonus session, 6 to 8 weeks after. You won't regret it, as the salesmen say. Anyway, I hope to see you there. The email link is in the email, as email links tend to be. Hope to see you then.